How can a player being rejected by every team that he plays in?
Oh, what's that? You want to stay at United now? You're dead to them, mate. You're dead to them. That's not going to happen.
I'm genuinely, if this guy does not leave my football club yesterday, I am going to bug out. I hate this player. I hate this player. I will pay for this player to leave. I will pay anyone to take this player. We are not asking for money. We are not asking for an offer. We will pay you to take this player out of our football club. We will pay you. How much do you want for Garnacho? 10 million, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million? How much do you want?
From the golden boy of Old Trafford.
Dalot joining in from fullback. Dalot for Garnacho! Oh, wow! Oh, wow! That is one of the great goals!
To be Chelsea's biggest fraud.
Garnacho. Garnacho.
Too strong from Garnacho.
Nobody even wants him at the club. Chelsea thought they'd signed Ronaldo's successor, but what they actually have is just a more expensive version of a college player.
Alejandro, Garnacho. You don't find players like this, Todd. The universe produces one every 1,000 years. He is not just a footballer, Todd. He is the future legend. Todd, in the entire history of mankind, humanity has never, ever produced a work of art like Alejandro Garnacho. This boy can do everything. Pass, dribble, score goals, and give assists. He never leaks the lineup. No ego, no drama. Just football. Pure, beautiful football. The king of dribbling. Todd, Pelé, Maradona, Messi, Ronaldo, legends, absolute legends. But put them all in one question and ask them, room, who is the greatest dribbler alive right now? They all go quiet. And then slowly, 1-1, they all point to the same man. Generally speaking, Todd, this boy costs 200 million. But today, only today, special price, just 40 million. And Todd, we are even including this Born to Be Got t-shirt, only at shazball.com. Wear greatness. Become greatness.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. Well, I'm buying Garnacho. I'll give him a 6-year contract. With Garnacho in our squad, Chelsea will win everything.
The subject 49 can make people scared of him, not because of his pace, dribbling, skill, or shooting, but it's when he is on Instagram.
I'm not calling him Garnacho anymore, I'm calling him subject 49.
We have a problem with crime rates in this country. I can give you a good suggestion in how we can reduce crime rates. Get criminals watching Garnacho go one-on-one. I promise you, crime rates go down. They'll never want to commit a crime again. Do that in the USA, they'll be like it's literally torture watching this guy. I was getting a headache watching this guy going one-on-one. He's useless.
Enzo Maresca has left Chelsea, but also taken away all the magic that left in Garnacho with him.
Garnacho, though?
Garnacho, I watched a lot of football over my 60-odd years of watching football, and even longer. That was one of the worst performances by a professional footballer I have ever seen in my life. He was indescribably terrible.
When the team need him to pass, he shoot. When the team need him to provide moment, he shoot. And when team need him to shoot, he lose the ball.
Where's Garnacho? Where the is Garnacho? If you can't dribble, why can't you track a man? Where were you? Where were you on the underlap? Where were you on the underlap? Oh my God! Do your job! Do your job! Where are you, Garnacho? Where are you? Where was you? You can't dribble, you can't cross, you can't shoot, you can't pass, you can't track back. What are you doing at my football club? What are you doing at my football club?
I hate Garnacho. I really do. I don't know if I've ever found a Chelsea player less likeable. I warm to Chelsea players. So even if you don't like them, I'll find the positives. So generally speaking, every Chelsea player I can find a redeeming quality, even the ones I'm not that fond of, even the ones I don't rate that highly. There's just nothing with this player. There's just absolutely nothing.
Everything about Garnacho right now is pure frustration. The most beautiful things about him are gone with that bicycle kick goal against Everton in a Manchester United time. So what's really happening to Alejandro Garnacho? Alejandro Garnacho was once the perfect example of a next big thing. Not only was he simply playing well, but Garnacho was also the centrepiece of the young generation. He played a major role in winning the FA Youth Cup and even scored in the final. A small detail, but enough to ignite the belief that this was the chosen one.
Alejandro Garnacho on the big stage again. He scores! He won the penalty. He's buried the penalty. And Manchester United lead again. Forced error there for Hammond. And this is Garnacho. And still, he scored again. The cup belongs to the red half of Manchester.
The brightest moment of Garnacho's career came after his amazing bicycle kick against Everton, which shocked the whole world. A perfect strike rewarded him with the Puskás Award.
I'm very proud to win this award and have a very good Christmas.
From being a young talent, Garnacho stepped straight into the global spotlight overnight. Everything was beautiful, but that's where things went too far. People started praising him as a new Cristiano Ronaldo at Manchester United and a new attacking superstar to replace Messi for the Argentina. It all sounds like pressure for a 20-year-old kid, but it wasn't. It turned out to be a big delusion.
Who does Garnacho think he is? Does he think he's Ronaldinho or Cristiano Ronaldo or Mbappe? This guy thinks that he's the best player in the world, and he isn't. This guy needs humility. Someone needs to tell this guy, you're not that good.
Talent, yes. He's good, but it seems the media blinded Garnacho with excessive hype. He started believing that he was truly exceptional. And that was when his ego began to grow far beyond reality. He no longer saw himself as a young talent, but gradually behaved like a star, establishing his status.
Garnacho, you gotta pass better today, yeah? Please. Pass better today, score a goal, and work on your first touch as well, yeah?
Instead of playing to maximise efficiency, he started playing to create personal highlights. His decisions on the pitch, from dribbling, shooting to ball handling, no longer served the system or his teammates, but served highlight moments instead. He had lived up to the title of the new Ronaldo, an ego as high as the sky. But the key difference was Ronaldo never used Instagram to prove himself. Ronaldo has always been known as the player with the biggest ego in the football world. But Ronaldo always turned that ego into motivation through absolute discipline and an obsession with making himself as perfect as possible.
Inshallah.
Opposite path. After terrible performances on the pitch, instead of training to improve, he chose to go on Instagram and like posts that pleased him. In 36 Premier League matches during his time at Manchester United, he scored only 6 goals despite taking 84 shots. There were constant pointless dribbling situations that ended with him losing possession and putting his team in danger. His inefficiency in attack, combined with his selfish mentality, made the audience begin to seriously question the disappearance of the young talent.
The impression I got was the only person Garnacho cared about was Garnacho.
Number one, you wasn't that good. Number two, you're a young player, be humble, be more humble like that.
And everything became even more tense for Alejandro Garnacho after Rúben Amorim arrived at Manchester United. Right from the moment he arrived, Amorim implemented strict discipline to change the culture at Old Trafford. Garnacho was reportedly too full of himself and frequently showed frustration when he was not prioritised in the starting lineup. He even sparked controversy after walking away on his own while Amorim was giving tactical instructions on the touchline. Amorim's preferred 3-4-3 system requires the wingers to contribute heavily in defence, something Garnacho was criticised for being weak and lazy at. Everything reached its peak during the Europa League final against Tottenham Hotspur. Garnacho was only brought on from the bench for the final 20 minutes, which hurt his feelings. The match ended badly for Manchester United both on and off the pitch. Garnacho publicly criticised Amorim's decision.
Temporada que la verdad que fue una mierda, tanto ahora al perder la final y en la liga que no ganamos a nadie, la verdad. Pero bueno, muy duro y bueno, yo creo que hasta llegar a la final he jugado todas las rondas, ayudado al equipo y jugar hoy 20 minutos.
Not stopping there, Garnacho's brother also spoke out to defend him and directly attacked the Portuguese head coach. But everything didn't go the way Garnacho wanted. That criticism led to him being completely removed from the club's plans. According to the media, Amorim reacted extremely harshly by telling the entire squad, "You better pray to find a new club this summer." Amorim was reportedly ready to leave Garnacho on the bench for the entire next season if he refused to leave in the summer.
Rúben Amorim said, "You better pray that you can find a club to sign you to Garnacho in the aftermath of the events surrounding the Europa League final."
Obviously, you're very close with Alejandro. Are you hopeful that he could end up staying at the club, or do you not know?
That statement marked the end of Garnacho at the Theatre of Dreams. For a player with such a massive ego who was considered one of the future stars of his generation, being publicly criticised like that was nothing short of humiliation for the young player. Instead of remaining patient like Kobbie Mainoo or Amad Diallo, Garnacho requested a transfer and moved to the West London club Chelsea for a fee of £40 million, signing a contract until 2032.
Alejandro Garnacho is going to become a Chelsea player. He's leaving Manchester United. A deal has been agreed. It's going to cost Chelsea a £40 million fixed fee.
Alejandro Garnacho to Chelsea. Here we go.
In his first interview on Chelsea's official website, Garnacho expressed his excitement, claiming that he had joined a massive club and that Chelsea was the best team in the world. Those comments were immediately met with criticism from social media, especially from Manchester United fans, the same people who once considered him the club's golden boy. Countless fans called him a traitor, a disgrace to Manchester United, saying Amorim should have kicked him out a long time ago. All the love once given to a young talent suddenly turned into flames of hatred.
Yeah, it's an incredible feeling to join this amazing club, so yeah, I can't wait to start playing. Yeah, I think it's a big step, you know. The situation of the club, I think, is a good step for me, for my career, so hopefully I'm gonna go well. When we travel to Stamford Bridge here, it's like the atmosphere is amazing, all the people supporting is crazy, so I enjoy to play here.
What a spoil! What a fool! What an absolute fool. What an absolute disappointment you really are. You look up to people like Ronaldo and Messi and you're behaving like an EastEnders character. Just unbelievable.
Chelsea fans believed this was a bargain signing for the club and a chance for the Argentine player to restart his career. But reality quickly shocked the Chelsea supporters. Garnacho still knew how to be himself, the same version with poor decision-making, an overly individualistic style of play, and most importantly, an inability to adapt to the tactical system. He failed to become the solution for Chelsea's attack and instead became a burden for the team. 6 goals and 4 assists. That's everything Garnacho has provided for Chelsea since arrived. All of his best numbers came only against lower-tier teams in the FA Cup or Carabao Cup. Finally, he had found his true level. In the most recent match against his former club, Manchester United, after Estevao suffered an injury in the 16th minute, Garnacho had the chance to come on and prove himself. People expected him to make a statement and prove Manchester United wrong, but Garnacho always finds a way to disappoint the audience. He was genuinely anonymous throughout the entire match and was completely shut down by Diogo Dalot. His poor defensive work directly led to the only goal of the game as he failed to track Bruno Fernandes, allowing the Portuguese player all the space he needed to deliver the decisive pass.
Fernandes brings it under control, stays away from Alejandro Garnacho, gets past him in actual fact to the byline, pulls it back into the area. United in the front, Matheus Cunha! And Matheus Cunha gives the Reds the lead at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Manchester United 1.
0 shots on target, 0 chances created, 0 dribbles, and 15 times losing possession. Absolutely terrible. His former teammates at Manchester United showed absolutely no sympathy for Garnacho, constantly posting mocking messages on Instagram about him. Chelsea fans expressed their frustration after the match, saying that all he knows how to do is chase highlights like a TikToker. Meanwhile, United fans sarcastically showed sympathy by saying they had already warned them about Garnacho.
An actual heartfelt apology. I'm really, really sorry, Nicky. I'm really, really, really sorry. I didn't realise that it was...
Why are you laughing? It's not a funny situation. You're supposed to be apologising.
I'm not. Not any.
A performance like that could be considered an accident if it only happened once. But the problem is that what happened that day was nothing new. It was simply an exaggerated version of what has repeatedly appeared throughout his recent career. Alejandro Garnacho can create a sense of danger with every touch of the ball, but the more consistently people watch him play, the more they realise that most of that danger never translates into actual effectiveness. He constantly drives the ball into crowded areas, trying to dribble past 2 or 3 players in situations where a simple pass would be the better option. There are moments when teammates are in far better positions, yet he still chooses to shoot, and by the time he finally decides to pass, the opportunity is already gone. Garnacho's entire decision-making process often feels like he is playing with tunnel vision, where the focus is almost entirely on himself rather than the bigger tactical picture. Garnacho is increasingly showing that he does not fit into the structure of modern football. Today's top managers all demand the same core principles from their wingers: pressing at the right moment, maintaining positional discipline, and participating in combination play to preserve the attacking structure. But Garnacho has shown major weaknesses in all 3 areas. He often presses at the wrong time or stops pressing completely, rarely tracks back aggressively enough when the team loses possession, and during short passing combinations, he tends to disrupt the team's flow rather than support it. But football is only half of the issue. The other half, and perhaps the more serious one, lies in his attitude. Throughout Garnacho's development, similar behaviours have continued to appear repeatedly, interacting with posts, criticising the manager or the club, showing negative body language on the pitch, reacting poorly when substituted or left out of the starting lineup, along with countless social media dramas that continue to damage his image. These details may seem small individually, but when they happen over and over again, they lead to a conclusion that becomes difficult to avoid. Garnacho's problem is no longer simply about football, but about professionalism. From being a player once expected to represent the future, he has gradually lost the support of the same stands that once celebrated him, with a large portion of fans turning against him and viewing him as a signing that failed to meet expectations. More importantly, his inability to maintain a stable position at 2 massive clubs like Manchester United and Chelsea shows that the issue is no longer about circumstances or a specific tactical system, but about the player himself. At an age where many talents from his generation are beginning to break through and establish their level, Garnacho finds himself in the complete opposite position. Not building toward his peak, but being forced to start over in order to fix foundations that have already gone in the wrong direction. But the patience of Chelsea and the fans is limited, and it is beginning to run out. There have already been rumours that Chelsea are searching for a new winger to potentially replace Garnacho. They are reportedly willing to accept a financial loss just to reduce the burden and find a new attacking solution, especially during a period where Chelsea are genuinely struggling for form, like they are right now. If his current mindset does not change, the trajectory of his career will almost certainly continue to decline, because top-level football has no place for players who cannot adapt. But another path still exists, because Garnacho has not lost the qualities that once made him so highly rated. He is still very young, and he still possesses the speed and technical ability to make a difference. The problem is that those qualities only matter when they are built on the right foundation. He needs a genuine reset of his ego, needs to relearn how to play football in a more efficient and disciplined way, and may even need an environment with less pressure in order to rebuild his career from the most basic level. If he cannot do that, his potential will remain nothing more than potential. But if he can, this may still become the lowest point before a better version of himself is formed. After everything that has happened, the real question is no longer whether Alejandro Garnacho has talent, but how he is using or wasting that talent. So is Garnacho a player who is misunderstood and has simply not been placed in the right environment to develop? Or is he a perfect example of someone destroying his own opportunities because his ego moved ahead of his ability? Talent gets you noticed. Attitude decides how long you stay. Horrible defence.
Could be interesting. And Anna's in big trouble. And it's going to be forced in. Warren, the former Manchester United trainee.
lost match after match. But Rúben Amorim still decided to put this man on the bench.
Kobbie Mainoo, he said he's a starter. He's made 9 appearances in the Premier League, every one of them as a sub.
If I'm looking after Kobbie Mainoo, I'm going, Kobbie, we're getting you out of that football club. Don't need to speak up, we'll sort it out.
It's so
He's
sad.
got, it's sad.
So
He's got,
sad
got
to think of that,
for his football career, he has to leave Man United.
Do you think
he's lost 18 months of development.
But look at what he has become now.
Yes, they're knotted down, cleared away to the edge of the penalty area.
91% passing accuracy, an average of 5 to 7 progressive carries per match. Almost impossible to be beaten under pressing, everything now goes through him.
We just got some stats here to show you how good he was in that game in terms of his passes, possession won, distance covered, but the goal he scored, and it was a big goal against Liverpool. But just a psychological sort of place that he's in. When everyone's telling you how good you are at 21 or 20 before, and he's played for England and he's played in big games, and you're left out by the manager, how do you deal with that? And he's dealt with it spot on. His attitude's been brilliant. He could have lost his confidence, but he didn't lose his confidence, and he puts in a performance like that.
Under Michael Carrick, he is no longer a young talent. He is the centre of Manchester United.
Yeah, I thought that was the best Kobbie's played certainly since I've been back here. I think to step up and put so many phases to his game or sides to his game. Not easy when you got really good players in and around you, and so he had to be right at it tonight. But after he showed so much quality and composure in a tough environment, really, in the end, to show us what he can do.
No highlights, not a goal scorer, but the one that every top club desires.
But I saw that as a massive threat when Mainoo was rumoured to leave, and I would have taken him at Juventus in a heartbeat because we've seen the talent that he possesses. He's an incredibly composed, deep-line midfielder, even like receiving the ball in the half turn. He just slows things down, it seems. Like even this United team, they're not the most technically gifted players at the back, right? But Mainoo's able to just be calm, be composed, move the ball quickly, speed up the play, slow it down when it's needed. And he was huge in that midfield.
From a player who was on the verge of being pushed out of Manchester United, he is now the brain, the soul of the team's midfield. Kobbie Mainoo is unstoppable.
Got Kobbie Mainoo, the swagger on him at moments in the game was sensational. And then he scores the match-winning goal. And he doesn't even score it in front of the scoreboard end, but he scores it in front of the Stretford end, which makes it just a little bit more special. To beat Liverpool, our fiercest rivals, to put us back into the Champions League where we belong. Like, I literally didn't have words. I just shouted Kobbie Mainoo when he scored. Like, mate, if I could bottle up that feeling, that's what it's all about, you know.
Mainoo! United can't play without you! United can't play without you! And it's breaking my heart when you don't start, Mainoo!
When Amorim was still in charge, Kobbie Mainoo had a total of only 73 Premier League minutes in the first 4 matches of the 2025-26 season. Yes, you didn't hear me wrong, 73 minutes for a player who had just played in a Euro final at the age of 18. A player whom Gary Lineker called the best player of the England national team in that tournament. And Amorim decided to place him on the bench.
I don't know what is going to happen. It depends. I see in the training, I see is the best thing for the team. I will put it. That is the only way I know how to respond to that. You love Kobbie. He starts for England, but that doesn't mean that I need to put Kobbie when I feel that I shouldn't put Kobbie. So it's my decision.
No, but his statement was that it's Agati or Casemiro, it's Bruno or Kobbie. He sort of said that in a press conference.
He's putting Mainoo up against Bruno.
No, but when you put because he's going to play 2 in there. When you say you're up against Bruno always is going to play, plays every match. Yeah. So in fact, he was actually telling Kobbie at the time, you're not going to play, basically. So I get Kobbie's point of view that he's like, hang on a minute, if I can play alongside Bruno, great. But if it's me or him, he's always going to play. He's brilliant.
Things got worse when in August 2025, Mainoo himself requested a loan move to get more playing time. But United refused. At this point, you might think that Manchester United still saw him as a necessary option for the squad. If that, you would be wrong. Instead of adjusting tactics to utilise the English player, Ineos, at that time, even considered selling him.
It's very late. It's just 6, almost 5 days to go to the end of the window.
And to find a solution for a player like Kobbie Mainoo is not that easy. It's not that easy also because Man United still hope to keep the player. They know that the player is not happy with the situation because it's not just about not playing. It's also about the coach after the game, Rúben Amorim, saying that he can only play in the position to replace Bruno Fernandes, and we know how important is Bruno for this team. So probably Mainoo was surprised about the situation, but now Man United still hope they can fix the situation with Kobbie. They can talk to the player, keep him and continue with him.
£40 million. That was the price Manchester United set to offload the Carrington Academy talent. With that amount, they believed it would help support Rúben Amorim in rebuilding the squad.
Kobbie Mainoo is a great example of Carrington working. Top talent, top player for me, 19 years old. To lose him for me will be such a bad look. Those are one of them ones where you're like, really? Kobbie's left. Imagine saying that when he scored the cup final winner just last season, that the next summer, Kobbie Mainoo would be gone.
Everything changed rapidly when Amorim was sacked and Carrick took charge of Manchester United in January 2026. Mainoo gained Carrick's trust and immediately started 13 out of 14 matches, missing only one due to injury.
I like the way Kobbie takes the ball after. I think there's a big part of being a footballer and being a top player is being able to cope with the environment. Yeah. And he come in at such a young age and played some big games in the Euros for England, for finals for Manchester United, and playing a big part in those games. So just being able to cope, first off, is a huge thing, and he's proved he can cope. You know, he takes the ball, he drifts, he can play a little bit deeper at times, he can play a little bit higher up depending on who he's playing with, and I think sometimes we can pigeonhole players in certain things quite quickly, and it's not always the case. And sometimes you say things and you see things in a player and you tweak a little bit. Kobbie can play different roles within that, but definitely with Cassie in the middle of the last couple of games, they've had a really good pairing, and being a big part of controlling as the team.
Carrick's trust in Mainoo has been repaid as he recorded the most ball recoveries in the midfield zone for the team. He created 7 chances. That may sound normal, but it is higher than Mbeumo, Amad Diallo and Casemiro over the same period. And everyone was truly amazed by Kobbie Mainoo in the recent match against Liverpool. 89% pass accuracy, 100% successful take-ons, 5 duels won, 7 ball recoveries, 2 shots and 1 winning goal, and man of the match.
With committing my future to the club and then winning at Liverpool and topping off with a goal, and it's amazing.
Does scoring at the Stretford End against Liverpool ever get boring?
Absolutely not. I mean, I hope I can do it for the rest of my life and just bottle up that feeling, you know.
And just finally, Champions League football next season for Manchester United. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's amazing. Back where I feel we should be as a club, and season's not over still. We still need to win these last few games, and then we can look towards next season.
So why did Amorim make such a foolish decision regarding Kobbie Mainoo? To be fair, the answer is not that he hated Mainoo or intentionally tried to harm him. That decision came from a systematic tactical philosophy. It was simply the wrong philosophy when applied to this team. Amorim's 3-4-3 system was indeed successful, bringing Sporting CP their first title after 19 years of waiting. But this is the Premier League, not the Primera Liga. In Amorim's system, central midfielders are required to do many things at once: high pressing, covering wide areas when the team attacks, quick defensive transitions. It is a system that demands engines rather than artists. Players who run a lot, bring high energy, and are not afraid of physical duels vertically and horizontally across the pitch. And in Amorim's mind, Mainoo was not that type. He saw Mainoo as too delicate, lacking explosive physicality, and not capable of covering ground in a high-press system.
I think he can play in both positions in the midfielder. Last year he played more in front. I think his perfect position is more near the ball, always with the ball. I think he's a big talent, and you guys know better than me that he's a big talent. I think he needs to increase the rhythm, the pace. I'm always on top of that with Kobbie, because he's so good sometimes, but he can be better. So I have big plans, but again, like I said, 1 game per week, the competition is going to be huge, and everybody has to be prepared to play 1 game or play all the games, and that is a key point in our system.
Instead, he chose Mason Mount, a player he praised from the first day he arrived at Carrington, constantly searching for roles for Mount in the system, while failing to find any role for Mainoo.
First thing is working really hard, and then you have to understand the human also. He wants this really bad, and that is the most important thing. I think he proved to all of you that he's a talented player. He was European champion also. So we believe a lot in him. He has to stay fit. And like I said, like all the guys in the team, they are quality players. They have to improve, believe in themselves. And today he did a great job. And you see some moments and details that you can see that Mason Mount is a proper footballer. So we believe a lot in him. I especially believe a lot in Mason Mount.
The problem is, Mount has been consistently injured, and since Carrick took over, he has not had a single starting appearance. Amorim made a choice between Mainoo and Mount, and he chose the wrong one. Carrick did it differently, not by reinventing Mainoo, but by understanding who he truly is. When Carrick paired Mainoo in midfield with Casemiro, he did not ask how many kilometres Mainoo could run each match. He asked, what does the team need most? The answer was someone who could receive the ball under the highest pressure, turn and make the right decision. Mainoo does that better than anyone else in the squad. And when Mainoo takes on that operating brain role in midfield, Casemiro is freed to do what he does best, and Bruno Fernandes is pushed into his natural position as a true number 10, not a deep lying playmaker forced to play lower. The entire team begins to breathe.
How Kobbie hasn't played for football as a year is mind-blowing. One of the best young talents in the world of football. And for a kid not to play for a year and to come in and play against City and Arsenal and basically run the games is a testament.
He's been brilliant. We know what Kobbie can do. He can take the ball for us under pressure. He's brilliant on the ball. He can get out of tight spaces. I always say, as a footballer, if the structure's good, you can perform. You can look a good player. But
from Amorim's perspective, the reason Mainoo was not trusted in his system was because he believed the player lacked the physicality for high pressing. But under Carrick, Mainoo has run more than all his teammates in 3 of the last 4 matches. In many games, he has also been the player who won the most duels and completed the most successful take-ons in the team. It is not that Mainoo lacks physicality, it is that Amorim's system did not create the environment for him to express that strength.
More from this last few months than when he first got in the team, when he was getting all the plaudits. I think he's had to mature. He's obviously got a new deal now. He's got to learn his trade. He's still a young player. He's learning. He's got years before he even peaks. He's surrounded by experienced players. Hopefully they're helping him. So I think it was no bad thing.
But to avoid simply blaming one person, it must be said clearly that those who defend Amorim are not entirely wrong. Not every coach has to adjust tactics for each individual player. That is not how a sustainable system is built. And Amorim took over Manchester United during the most chaotic period of the club in decades. It would not be fair to judge a long-term philosophy based on half a turbulent season. However, there is one thing that cannot be excused. Mainoo did not decline because he became worse. He declined because he was not placed in the right environment. And that is not a philosophical issue. It is an issue of player assessment.
I think Amorim for Kobbie was a nightmare for the type of player he is, because sometimes as a player your style just doesn't marry up well with the coach and the expectations of it. I think with Carrick it's like it's a dream, you know. It's a dream to have a fellow midfielder who can almost coach and guide you as this is what I need from you in these areas, and you go through it and you have that mutual respect and you're looking up to a guy of Carrick's standard and what a player he was. I think if he builds himself up, gets explosive, we're talking about a guy that can go to another level that he is now.
The question is not who is tactically right. The question is, when you have Kobbie Mainoo in your team and you cannot find a way to use him, that is a failure of the system, not the player. And the cost of that failure is clearest when looking at the bigger picture. 1 year ago, Liverpool finished the season 42 points ahead of Manchester United, while also equaling United's record of 20 domestic league titles, 42 points. That is the gap between champions and a team in decline. Well, it's a good idea for United to go to Mainoo 43 times. Carrick is here for Arsenal, City, Chelsea, and there's Liverpool. For the first time since the 2015-16 season, Champions League qualification is secured with 3 rounds remaining. Mainoo signed a new 5-year contract just last week. Then he scored the winning goal against Liverpool at home. If Ineos had followed Amorim's direction and sold him for £40 million back in January, what would the scenario have looked like for Manchester United? A Champions League spot? I don't think so. Under Amorim, the smile disappeared from Mainoo's face. A player who had been the centrepiece of England at Euro 2024 became someone not even named in a 20-man squad. Not because he got worse, but because no one knew how to place him correctly. Carrick did nothing extraordinary. He simply restored Mainoo to himself, gave him the right role, gave him trust, and let him play the way he knows how to play. Immediately, everything changed. What was Rúben Amorim afraid of? Perhaps he was not afraid of Mainoo. He simply did not see him, and that is even worse. Because now, after everything that has happened, the whole world can see him. If you enjoy our video, don't forget to hit like to help this video reach to other football lovers, and hit the subscribe button to follow for more interesting videos about football stories. See you in the next video.